Throughout world history, countless wars have been fought around the globe. While war, in itself, is always destructive and costly, there exists a handful of wars in history that have proven quite devastating in regard to both deaths and overall destruction. This is the list with the 10 deadliest wars in human history. Number 10, 30 Years' War. 8 million people killed. The 30 Years' War was a conflict fought in Central Europe between 1618 and 1648 among the European powers of the day. Although the war originally began as a conflict between Protestant and Catholic states from the disintegrating Holy Roman Empire, it quickly spread in the years that followed to encompass much of the European continent. It is estimated that nearly 8 million individuals were killed as a result of the 30 Years' War. Number 9, Chinese Civil War. 8 million people killed. The Chinese Civil War was a conflict fought in China during the mid-20th century between communist forces and the Republic of China. Occurring in two separate phases, due to the onset of World War II, the first phase of the Chinese Civil War occurred between 1927 and 1936, with the second phase occurring around 1946 and 1950. In total, it is estimated that nearly 8 million people, both military personnel and civilians, died as a result of the Chinese Civil War. Number 8, the Russian Civil War. 9 million people killed. The Russian Civil War was a multi-party war fought between 1917 and 1926, which involved both the Red Army, Communist, and White Army, Nationalist, forces. Following the collapse of the Russian Empire and the dissolution of Tsar Nicholas II's power, Bolshevik forces led by Vladimir Lenin engaged nationalist troops for control of the Russian interior, with disastrous consequences in terms of lives lost and property destroyed. Lasting approximately 6 years, it is currently accepted by historians that the conflict claimed approximately 9 million lives. Number 7, the Dungan Revolt. 10 million people killed. The Dungan Revolt, or Hui Minorities' War, refers to a religious conflict fought in Western China between 1862 to 1877. The war began when Hui Muslims began rioting in China in response to religious and racial discrimination that was being perpetuated by the Qing dynasty. In response to the riots, the Qing government retaliated with astonishing speed, unleashing devastating reprisals and massacres against Hui Muslims across Western China. Currently accepted estimates place overall deaths in the vicinity of 10 million. Number 6, First World War. 19 million people killed. The First World War, also known as the Great War, was a worldwide conflict that originated in Europe on the 28th of July 1914. Lasting 4 years, the war resulted in the mobilization of approximately 70 million military personnel, as the European continent was engulfed by conflict in nearly every corner of the map. In total, approximately 9 million military personnel lost their lives during the Great War, with an additional 9 to 10 million civilians killed. Number 5, Taiping Rebellion. 20 to 30 million people killed. The Taiping Rebellion, or Taiping Civil War, refers to a civil war that took place in China between 1850 and 1864 between the Qing government and Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. Led by an individual named Hong Xiuquan, who believed he was the brother of Jesus Christ, the Taiping forces waged a nationalist, political, and religious war against the Qing dynasty with the goal of converting the Chinese people to Christianity. Estimated deaths from the Taiping Rebellion are difficult to measure due to the lack of official records from this time period. However, most estimates place the number of dead at approximately 20 to 30 million. Number 4, the Qing conquest of the Ming dynasty. 25 million people killed. The Qing conquest of the Ming dynasty, also known as the Ming-Qing transition, refers to a decades-long war between the Qing and Ming dynasty that lasted from 1618 to 1683. Originating from a series of complaints known as the Seven Grievances, which enumerated the major social and political issues facing China at this time, rebel groups, alongside bands of peasants, waged war against the ruling Ming dynasty with the hope of achieving reform. Lasting nearly 70 years, it is currently estimated that nearly 25 million people died as a result of the war. Number 3. Second Sino-Japanese War. 29 million people killed. The Second Sino-Japanese War refers to a conflict between the Republic of China and the Empire of Japan. Lasting from the 7th of July, 1937 to the 2nd of September, 1945, the war is widely considered one of the bloodiest conflicts in human history as Japanese forces raped, pillaged, and killed countless Chinese civilians and military personnel in their quest for victory. The conflict began as a result of the Japanese Empire seeking to expand its control and influence into the heart of Asia. Although figures vary significantly, depending on the source, it is generally accepted that nearly 29 million people died as a result of the Second Sino-Japanese War. Number 2. An Lushan Rebellion. 36 million people killed. The An Lushan Rebellion refers to a massive war that occurred in China on the 16th of December 755 AD. Lasting nearly 8 years, the rebellion was a direct result of General An Lushan declaring himself Emperor of Northern China in defiance of the established Tang dynasty. In total, scholars have placed overall deaths, for both military and civilians, at an astounding 36 million people. Number 1. Second World War. 70 million people killed. The Second World War refers to a massive global conflict that lasted from 1939 to 1945, and which involved nearly all of the world's countries. Divided into two separate camps, the Axis versus the Allies, the two military alliances engaged in total war for nearly 6 years, with devastating consequences in terms of both death and destruction. In total, it is generally accepted by scholars that approximately 70 million people died as a result of the Second World War. Of these, nearly 20 million people were military personnel, while another 40 to 50 million are believed to have been civilians. The Soviet Union, alone, accounts for nearly 27 million of these deaths. Do you agree with this list? Let me see your thoughts on comments below. Thank you for watching.